Like me some comments, I really do. I like me some comments, don't care about you. I like me some comments.
So yeah, I suppose we've all been there, folks, haven't we? There or thereabouts. Gone for some end of the line scran with your nearest and dearest. Knowing full well it's on outs and well merited as such, but not quite ready to let go just yet. So to cap off a crappy evening in fine style, and to absolutely ensure that each and every scrap of any remaining dignity is well out the window, you start arguing it straight, and then next news you get accosted by some zombie fella who simply says, "Tag, you're it," before naffing off into the night from whence he came. I mean, it's typical, isn't it, that? Absolutely cliche. And while I'm thinking on, it's Tig, isn't it? Alright, not Tag, Tig. Tig, man. Yeah? Well, next news, mind, young fella wakes up in a local A&E, just as he's being named DOA due to having zero signs of life, and what have you. No pulse, no blood pressure, no note. Well, pray tell, just what does one do in such a grave situation? Well, thinking on his feet, young fella just decides to split sharpish, doesn't he? Naffs off home. Fair play to him. And fair play to his recently ex-missus and all, who graciously hides him away from the old Bill and Co. Even though he's starting to proper stink out her gaff. And she also Googles this blog that tries to put a bit of meat round his skanky bones. Good job said blog is ostensibly a crib sheet regarding some sort of virus or whatever that turns folk into living dead and that. And a backstory has a nice turn of phrase. It's a fair play to this blogger character and all, I guess, considering what were on the plate. You know, living death-wise and that. It's nice to see folk going the extra mile, isn't it, instead of just taking the ball home for a sign of drizzle. And from there we're left looking on as a few more skeletons tumble out at closet, while young fella susses out who'd want to tig him in first place, and more pertinently, who he's going to tig to get rid of whatever it is that's eating him inside out. Better get his skates on and all. Gotta be honest, and it's probably no surprise, I'm probably in the vast minority when I say that I don't actively seek out zombie stuff as a rule of thumb. But there's a bit of a spin on the well-worn themes here, and it's to be applauded for that, if naught else. But if the whole undead thing don't really toot your flute as a rule, then I don't reckon this slick three-parter has got enough in its tank to convince you otherwise. Maybe give it a do if you sat on Undead Fence. It's right enough, man. Now then, aside from your regular selection of British staple weeklies and the odd American comic lying in wait up at Able Street Paper Shop as a kid, the youthful entertainment hybrid known as Lookin' always had a fairly central part to play in helping relieve me of my pocket money, or the change my granddad let me keep for picking up his sports pink next at Bucky's. Where else but Lookin' could you get a weekly fix of disparate gear such as the illustrated adventures of Leslie Crowther? Maybe cop yourself a psychedelic Catweasel poster, or proper swoon over a fascinating insight into the world of winter sports by a pre-Dickie Richard Davis, who non-British viewers might know best from when Mr Moustache, Tom Selleck himself that is, graciously name-checked our Dickie as a direct influence when developing the look of his Malcolm Magnum character. Where else could you find all that kind of tripe? Not much, but possibly slightly more. Nowhere, that's where. Nowhere, I said. Looking also featured illustrated adaptations of many popular shows at time, including stuff like Please Sir, Wreckers at Dead Eye, Freewheelers, you name it, Charlie. In what were mainly a black and white tome, one strip particularly stood out, and that were full colour double page Time Slip, which allowed this here Simon and Liz to go further afield, spreading the young wings a bit wider than the fairly meagre TV budget would allow, and head back to start mixing it with dinosaurs and local trogs and whatnot. I mean, Time Slip the TV shows were for gander, don't get me wrong, but there's no duking it out with T-Rexes or what have you. Pretty giddy stuff for youngsters at day, no doubt, to the point where the outlandish illustrated tales caused young viewers to get naffed off, with comparatively asinine, quote, adventures, unquote, that were going down in its TV equivalent. The show was subsequently cancelled not too long after that. Comics 1, Gogglebox, 0. Right now, I've read a few bits by this here Paul Hornsheimer fella, and I know that he's involved with a few filmy bits and all. I do know that, thanks. But this is the first thing that I ever picked up with his name on, I think. Probably best part of 10 years ago. There or thereabouts. So here we are. I was lucky enough to clock this in a Chazza over in Chorlton for a couple of baht. So it were a no-brainer, really. It didn't even look like it had been read at all, I don't think, which is a bit odd. Because, I mean, what kind of pea-brain doofus is going to give this kind of thing even a precursory flick through? Not want to have a decent gander. No accounting for taste, though, is there, I guess? And I should know. Nice stuff, is this so? Pretty introspective, self-reflective fare that has an eye on most at big themes that folk encounter as they float down life's river. Like the spectres of childhood experience, the importance of altered family dynamics, objective scrutiny of ensconced religious dogma and whatnot. All that sort of good stuff and more is covered to a degree. And it's kind of cool how the artwork alters as we flick back and forth through time and reality so as you don't lose track. I've seen a few folk use comparisons to this with some of Daniel Clowes' stuff, and I get that, especially where some of the artwork's concerned, but that's no bad thing, is it? And there's more than enough original stuff being said here to warrant your attention if you dig that sort of thing. Even if you don't. I think you can still pick this up for less than £5, so give it a do, man. Might change your mind on a few bits.
Like some comments.